All right, we are live yet again for the game of the century, Georgia versus Tennessee Tech. It's so good they can't even put it on TV. It's pay per view. Georgia will be on ESPN Plus. I'm not going to be one of those guys to tell you how to figure out streaming. I don't even know how to figure it out. It's going to suck, but that's what happens whenever you play a team like Tennessee Tech. We already recapped the Georgia Clemson game. I think a lot of people are now basically crowning Georgia as the most dominant team ever um,
Rat poison.
within week one. Obviously, this will can roll on. I think if Georgia doesn't do what Oregon did against Idaho, which I have a hard time believing that they would, this will roll on. So, with that, why don't you go ahead and start us off with opening comments and go from
Well, yeah, the Tennessee Tech coach was brutally honest about it. Right? Let's call it what it is. This is a payday for them, and he knows they're going to be coming down and getting their teeth kicked in. So I expect to see a lot of young players, second and third string, a lot of game time experience for some of those younger players. The biggest thing is to come away healthy. But when Kirby was asked something about what Tennessee's, I think his name is Billy Wilder, the coach for Tennessee Tech, he's talking about the game, and Kirby said, "Well, he's not going to turn down the paycheck, is he?" So and he was talking about not wanting to come to play in front of 93,000 in Sanford Stadium. So it's a payday. Unfortunately, programs like Tennessee Tech and the even smaller schools, this is their only hope of staying somewhat relevant, is coming and getting their teeth kicked in as a warm-up game for these big-time Power 5 schools. So that's exactly what this is. And um, you know we'd love to play Clemson's and out of conference games that were meaningful, but that's just not what we're going to get. So hence we're getting not to see Georgia on TV, and it's a 2 o'clock game.
right. And Georgia, this is, by the way, this line is the largest in program history. It's 53 and a half if you can get it anywhere. Um,
Aren't
which
you
is
a debauched gambler if you're betting on a 53-point spread?
yeah, I don't know who would even bet that. What's the juice on that? Not a whole lot. So, um, and he said, this is part of their scheduling model, and this is what teams have to do. What you said in order to survive. And whenever he was at Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech. So I don't know. I mean, this is Kirby made a good point. He's in favor of keeping these programs around. He's a big proponent of them. Gives people chances to play football, coach football, and this is what you have to do to keep these programs alive. Also, I thought it was interesting when he was talking about the gap between the programs with Oklahoma. He gave the example of Oklahoma and Texas, or
Right.
not Texas, Temple. And that was a gap where it's P4 and then G5. And it was what, 50 something to 3?
Right. Yeah.
And then the gap between Georgia and Tennessee Tech is just night and day. So the gap is only widening, is going to continue to widen. So I don't know what you do.
I don't either. I don't. I mean, with the NIL and the transfer portal, any of these teams, like you can even look at Deion Sanders going for a historically black college. He saw the handwriting on the wall. He wasn't going to be able to get those players like that down at Jackson State or whatever it was.
Right.
You're going to have to be able to pay to play, and these smaller schools are going to lose their best athletes after a year or two to bigger NIL deals, right? They're going to transfer out, and they're going to be more and more of a disparity between, top Power 5 conference in terms of athlete size, strength, ability, and the guys that are playing at a Texas Tech. So, and by the way, Texas Tech,
Tennessee Tech.
Tennessee. I'm sorry, Tennessee Tech. They are their starting quarterback got hurt. He was a transfer from Missouri, so now they're coming in to play the number one team in the country with a backup quarterback. But Kirby says he's pretty good, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, what else is he gonna say? I mean, it's very Kirby. Yeah, I mean, talking wise, there's not a whole lot to talk about this game. I think we all assume that Georgia's going to win, probably win by a lot. If you're going to the game, it's good just to be in Sanford Stadium. There's not going to be another home game for another month. So I get why people would go. People that have season tickets and go to every game, I get why they wouldn't go either. So I guess the biggest news right now is Chip Towers and what he's doing with Kirby in this duel that is a very one-sided duel. It's just Chip Towers shooting his little pea pistol at Georgia and Kirby Smart. I don't get it. Have you seen recently what's going on over there?
Are you talking about the suspension stuff and having to announce it and stuff?
Well, there's that, but did you see what he wrote on the AJC?
No, I guess I haven't. No.
So hold on, I'll pull it up. I should have came a little bit more prepared. Hold on, I will find this.
I think Chip just has his feelings hurt because he doesn't have access to the program like he did under Richt, and that really starts to come out, unfortunately, in some of Chip's reporting and sort of the stance that he takes, in my humble opinion.
So this is what he said. SEC's availability reports could alter how Georgia football handles suspensions. That's the headline. Well, if you listened, Kirby said, I'm not going to say anything because it's a player and it's his family, and I respect the player and his family. And, if he has a funeral or if he has, he's suspended, those two things are different.
Right.
And by the way, he reported in this report, in that paper or in that article, he quoted that Kirby gave information to Molly McGrath of ESPN.
Yeah, I heard
he denied it.
Like, don't be putting words in my mouth. I didn't give it, did he? I don't tell them anything I don't tell y'all.
So at some point, it really got bad when the Devin Willock situation, and then him reporting that the players went to Toppers hours before they died. I mean, who hasn't stuck their foot in Toppers at least one time? Just so happened it was the day that they lost their lives. What a crime! And then the next thing is the whole I forget the kid. It wasn't Bear Alexander. Who's the kid that was Jamal Jarrett?
Oh yeah,
accused of sexual misconduct,
right.
To put it lightly. And they ran with that, and Chip Towers was he was really pushing that rock up that hill, and Kirby and the university basically took their newspaper out, no pun intended, and just popped them on the nose and said no. At some point, someone's going to have to say something and do something, because it's just ridiculous. And then on the outside looking in, people think that there's like some major problem going on. Well, there's really nothing going on once you look inward.
Well, I guess Chip has to be that, or somebody has to be that voice or whatever. Questioning everything, to me it comes across as slightly petty, and I do believe, because I've heard Chip in the past talk about being irritated and frustrated with the access to the players and to the program, and how the message is very much controlled by Kirby. And I think, that bothers Chip to a large extent. And I think he's pushing back on it at every opportunity. And he's maybe to some extent chasing windmills, but probably in his opinion, he's doing what he thinks an investigative, objective journalist is supposed to be doing. I don't know, but I can tell you this. I'm pretty sure Kirby's on the rules committee, and he's going to abide by exactly what the rules say when it talks about injured players. And there's going to be enough wiggle room as long as he's on these committees that Chip's going to continue to be frustrated, I believe.
Yeah, it's annoying and it's just petty. I don't know. It's just right now because I guess we're playing Tennessee Tech this week. It's that has been the ire of the Georgia fan base right now. Is Chip Towers. It's getting so bad. Drew Butler and Aaron Murray both have said something.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you got former players coming out saying something. That's not great.
Since I'm not on social media, I guess that controversy has passed me by.
Well, you might hear it tomorrow on the radio. There you go. I'll get back to you. All right, so let's talk about expectations. What do you want to see going for this game?
My expectations are Georgia jumps out, and maybe this is my hope. Georgia jumps out to an early first quarter. By middle of the second quarter, our starters are pulled. We see a lot of Gunnar Stockton. We get to see Puglisi. We get to see they empty the benches. Obviously, Warren Brinson, let him rest. Some of these players that are just getting back, I don't think there's any need to rush them. So I would, my hope and my desire is we're up early. We see a lot of young players, and this is a comfortable win, and nobody gets injured, and on to the next game.
Yeah, for me, I want to see the offense sustain long drives, score in the red zone, defensively get 3 plays and out. I don't want to see any sustained drives from Tennessee Tech. And then, like you, by the end of the second quarter, by like the 2-minute warning, we should have a comfortable enough lead to start pulling guys and putting new guys in.
Right.
We'll see. I mean, these games under Kirby, and this is one thing that annoys me, but I also understand. They purposely tie one hand and try to, play this game left-handed. They've done it a lot under Kirby. So I'm expecting the team to kind of drag its feet a little bit. I mean, and not be too excited to play. Should be the home opener, so you should have a little bit of juice, but who knows? And then also, I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing things that we might see in some game later down the road. And at this point, we're like, why are we doing this? This isn't working. I don't understand. And then come, whenever that time is later down the road, we're like, oh yeah, remember whenever we were trying to do this? Oh, okay.
Well, I think he's definitely he wants to put these guys who are not starters in difficult situations. You know what I mean? And see how they respond. And use it as coaching moments for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and he knows that this team is really good and is talented. I think Kirby knows what he has in this team. If you haven't noticed, he's really calm. He's really relaxed. Obviously not coaching, but like to the media and before games, this is the most like cool and calm, collective Kirby I've seen in a while. Well, ever really. When it comes to a team, have you noticed that? Have you picked up on that?
Maybe he's just getting a little more mellow with age, and maybe he's practicing meditation. I haven't really noticed it, but I think you don't hear Kirby like before the Clemson game. He said they have a really good team, but so do we. You don't hear Kirby even to the media say that very often,
Right.
So I think he knows. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he knows he's got a really talented group of guys.
Yeah, it's really subtle stuff. It's not like he's just saying hey, we're the number one team, we're the best. It's very subtle, like you said. Like he says things like we have a good team too. So I just want to see execution. I want to see long, sustained drives, no turnovers, no sloppiness. If we do that, everyone comes out injury free, everyone's happy, then we can move on to Kentucky, which we'll see what Kentucky looks like against South Carolina. I know South Carolina struggled. Speaking of Old Dominion, they struggled with Old Dominion. I don't know. I think they have good of a chance. I mean, I wasn't that impressed with Kentucky.
Who did they play again? I didn't watch.
Kentucky and South Carolina. Oh, who does Kentucky play?
Who did they play?
They played Southern Miss.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
I didn't watch any.
And I know that they played like they had a 2-hour delay. Before the game, and then at halftime they had a shortened halftime, and then in the third quarter they just called the game. So I know it was a little herky jerky, but again, I wasn't that impressed. I didn't think Kentucky was going to do. I don't think they're going to beat Georgia. Obviously, I do want to see how they look against South Carolina. Is South Carolina as bad as we all think they are, and is Kentucky decent to where they could put up a fight against Georgia? That to me
is that at Columbia or is that in Lexington?
I don't know. You're going to have to feel for a minute.
That makes a big difference on who I would think. South Carolina. What time is the game too?
It's 3:30. It's up in Kentucky.
Yeah, I'll take Kentucky at home. And I haven't seen South Carolina, but I'll just take Kentucky at home.
Yeah, the other game is a 9-point favorite, man.
Huh?
Kentucky's a 9-point favorite.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
I don't know. I'm really interested to see if South Carolina can kind of, give them a fight and see what happens. Because I don't know how good Kentucky is. To me, I know there's Texas, Michigan. There's what's the Tennessee, NC State. To me, the biggest game for Georgia is that Kentucky South Carolina game.
That makes sense. It's next game on the season, right?
Yeah, next game. But also, if Kentucky goes out there and drubs them, then we're in for a fight next Saturday night. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the case or not. Is there any other big games that I missed?
No, the only one you mentioned in passing was the Texas Michigan. That'd be interesting from a pure spectator standpoint, but outside of that, no.
I don't think Michigan's all that great. It's not really a good week of college football, especially given that last week was a pretty good one. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of Colorado, I guess, and
Arkansas is playing
Oklahoma State.
That's right, Arkansas and Oklahoma.
That's at the same time as Texas and Michigan, and I think Texas is gonna go out there and beat the hell out of Michigan. So I don't really know what's the exciting matchup. Anyway, just keep your eye on that one. Also, don't be surprised if NC State beats Tennessee.
They're crowning Tennessee's quarterback the hottest thing since.
Well, of course they are. The media loves nothing more than Tennessee and their offense. As soon as they play a team that just can stop that offense, it never works. So it's gimmicky. It's almost like a triple option with passing. So if you want to see if I'm any good at handicapping sports or football, NC State, take the points, and I would take them outright.
Where they were playing at?
They're playing in Charlotte at the Panthers Stadium.
All right. Well, I'm not going to bet it, but I'll pay attention.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've extended this as long as we could. Let's go ahead and do score predictions. Let's see. So we're keeping track this year. I was 42-17. You were 37-20. And the final score was 43-3.
34-3, right?
Yes. What did I say?
I thought you said 43. Anyway,
no.
31-point difference.
Yeah. So I guess you were the closest on Georgia's total.
By default, we both missed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what we'll do. I guess we both count. What do you want to do? Would you rather go closest team total at that point?
Sure. It doesn't matter. We're making up rules as we go along anyway.
All right. So you're for this week. You won. So congratulations. We still got to come up with a punishment. So I'm 0-1. You're 1-0. All right.
I would say shave your head, but never mind.
I like all right. Let's do score predictions. This one's going to be a hard one to do. Why don't you go ahead and pick yours?
I just don't believe Kirby's going to run up the score as much as he could. I'm looking in high 40s, low 50s. I'm going to say 52 to 3.
All right. That was going to be my number. 52. So I'll do 56. I don't know how you would get there, but we'll get there somehow because we're just going to go closest. 56 to 7. They score a late touchdown at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
All right. Well,
as people start to leave Sanford Stadium.
Yeah, especially if it's warm by 2:30 or 4 o'clock. It's gonna that could be an empty looking Sanford Stadium.
It's gonna be a City of Commerce day. It's 83 and sunny. Yeah, it's gonna be a nice, beautiful day.
Nice.
So yeah, there you go. There's your ad. All right. Well, we have Georgia cruising to another win, 2-0. We'll come back with a recap, and then next week, time for big boy football. Play Kentucky. So we'll keep you posted and keep you updated. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, follow us at Terminus Sports _ATL on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or X. And then our presenting sponsor, Unishippers. Why don't you go ahead?
If you have a company and you have shipping of any need, feel free to give us a call, Unishippers Atlanta, and ask for Holland Martin.
All right. Shout out Holland, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right. See ya.